Hey there YouTube, this is Super87 again, bringing you a new deck profile, and this time I'm bringing you Archfiends as I recently completed it, and I have it ready enough to do. There's a couple things I would do that I'm still waiting on trying to find for card-wise, but it's mostly completed. Just like I said, I'm missing a couple things, so I'm going to try to play that, because I'm waiting to... There's some other stuff I need to get for Lancer Frogs, because I'm going to try something new with that, so I'm going to run Archfiends for a little while. First we start off with 3 Archfiend Emperor, the first Lord of 4. He basically acts like a sort of a mini Master Hyperion, at least in the destruction effect. He has no special summon effect. Basically he has 3 little things about him. One you can normal summon without attributing, but its attack and defense are halved, and it's destroyed in the end phase. Which is actually a good thing, but I'll get into that. I'll get into that later. You cannot special summon Fiend cards, or anyone but Fiend cards, while he's on the field. And then you can banish an Archfiend card from either your hand or graveyard to destroy a card on the field. So like that right there is the mini Archfiend. If you have Skill Drain, which I have a couple copies in this deck, if you have Skill Drain out before him, you can bring him out at 3,000. Usually you want to activate Skill Drain before, because if you bring it out and then activate Skill Drain, he'll go up to 3,000, but he will still be destroyed in the end phase, because that effect is still there. It's like a floating effect. But he can also be summoned by some of the themed Archfiend cards, which we'll get into in a bit. And 3 Archfiend Heiress. And she is your main searcher of the deck. She's a 1,000 attack level 3 fiend, so she's a tour guide target, and there are 2 Exceed monsters that actually will activate her effect, which is if she's sent to the graveyard because of a card effect or being destroyed by battle, you can add an Archfiend card from your deck to your hand except for herself. And you can only activate it once per turn. So basically, I have a Foolish Burial and I have an Armageddonite here, and those activate her. I have a Trance Archfiend, discarding them activate her. Setting and destroying by battle and will activate her. But also, Fortune Tune and Zen Mains will both activate her, because their effects instead of costs, which for most of most of the rank 3s will do. So because it's an effect, it will send Heiress by an effect to the grave, and then she'll activate. Next up, we have 2 Archfiend General. You can discard it from your hand to the graveyard to search for a Pandemonium and add it to your hand, which is one of the 2 Archfiend field spell cards. And it also has 2100 attack, but if you summon it without Pandemonium on the field, it'll get destroyed. But you can also summon it under Skill Drain, and it won't be destroyed by that effect. 2 Archfiend Cavalry, which is a 1900, and if it's on the field and destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target an Archfiend monster in the graveyard, except for himself, and special summon it, and it can't attack the turn that's done. So that's one of the ways you can actually get out the Emperor with the full 3,000 attack. 1 Trance Archfiend, just because it's searchable. Like I said, the discard actually activates Heiress. You can also ditch Emperors in the grave when they're dead in your hand and you don't want to banish anything. And then, obviously, since Emperor banishes, then the Trance Archfiend can return banished cards to your hand. 2 Tour Guide. Like I said, because of Heiress, they become very integral to your deck, and instantly make any rank 3, most likely Fortune Tune and Zen Mains. I have 2 Max C. Sure, I don't really need to explain those. 1 Armageddonite. Like I said, this is to send an Heiress from your deck to the graveyard, so basically it functions like a gadget in a way. well, in terms of, like, I normal summon a sort of weak monster and get a card. And kind of that way. I have one Tech Crane that I might replace with another Archfiend's Roar when I get a second Archfiend's Roar, which one is on his way. Basically just another way to get Eris's onto the field and activate them. A Dark Arm Dragon. I'm running a bunch of Darks. I have Graveyard Manipulation. It seemed appropriate. Onto the spells. We have 3 Pandemonium, which is one of the 2 Archfiend's field spells you can use. The other one I don't like, so I'd rather run this one. It has neither player has to pay life points during the standby phase for Archfiend monsters, but I run none of those, so I don't have to worry about that one. Really, it only matters that each time an Archfiend monster is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, except by battle, you get to search for a Archfiend with a level lower than the one you did. So that's why the normal summon thing on Emperor is okay, because I can summon Emperor, banish something, pop something, hit for like 1500, and then end phase it's destroyed, and then I search for like a level 4 or a level 3 Archfiend, and add it to my hand. Two Forbidden Lance, 2 Duality, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Book of Moon, 1 Falling Down, which is basically Archfiend themed Snatch Steal, that has a cost instead of gain. Is that if you control an Archfiend monster, you can take control of an opponent's monster, and then during each of their standby phases you take 800 damage. And then it would be destroyed unless you control an Archfiend monster. So, like that's why I only run 1, just because if I'm going to have more dead hands when I don't have Archfiends that will actually last. I mean, if I just summon an Eris and do this, I can like attack, and then if they could just destroy the Eris and get their card back, it won't really have done much. I have 1 Foolish Burial. Like I said, it's to complement the Armageddon Knight, and in ditching Eris to the graveyard and activating it, and then searching again. And then 1 Allure of Darkness. My deck is nearly all dark, save for a couple monsters. And I run Trance. So, onto the traps. We have 2 Skill Drain. Like I was talking about, a lot of my cards activate in the graveyard. Both General and Emperor both get benefits from Skill Drain being on the field. It's a really good anti-meta card in its own right. So, Cavalry still activates under it, Eris still activates under it. It'll stop Tour Guide, but Skill Drain for most people will become a priority target for for destruction. So it won't be long before they try to destroy Skill Drain to lift the veil. 2 Prison, 1 Archfiend's Roar, which is you pay 500 life points to activate it, and then you special summon a Archfiend monster card from your graveyard, and this cannot be offered as a tribute and is destroyed during the end phase. So basically like a free summon of a beater, and also an activator for Pandemonium, as well as searchable by Eris. So like I said, I'm getting a second one of this just so I can have more, so I can just be like, I'll summon an Emperor, I'll attack for 3,000, and then I'm not fearing a destruction because I'm going to do that anyway, and then boom, I get a search. 1 Eradicator Epidemic Virus, just because I have those 3,000 attack darks, as well as the ability to make at least Crazy Box, so I have the option of running this. 1 Torrential, 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulsory, and 1 Warning to round out my trap lineup. Alright, and then on to my extra. Like I said, we have my main 3, which is from number 49 Fortune Tune and 2 Zen Mains. I prefer Fortune Tune, but I don't have to actually run more than 1 because of its effect. Because it has a anti-destruction effect like Zen mains, but it also can't be targeted by effects, and it's got way weaker stats, but and not targeting by card effects, as well as each standby phase you gain 500 life points. And then when it's finally destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can take 2 level 3 monsters from your graveyard and return them to your deck. So like send Torguides and Cranes and Eris's back to keep searching, as well as send Fortune 2 back to your extra deck. So basically it'll die, and then you'll get to use it again. Now to round out the rest of my rank 3s, I have 1 Mecha Engineer, 1 Leviair, 1 Leviathan, and 1 Tempo. Really just to have utility. And then I also have my rank 4s, which is 1 Emerald, 1 Chain, which is actually really good in here because it sends Eris, 1 Gaga Cowboy, 1 Maestro, 1 Abyss Dweller, Crazy Box, like I said, just because I run Epidemic, because Crazy Box is fun, and Photon Pepper Operative. And that's it. Let me know what you think of the deck. If I make any drastic changes, like I'm thinking about Masked Chameleon in here, I will do an updated deck profile. But I'm going to test this out. I might be using it as a regionals if my Lancer Frog deck does bad at the first one, because I have 2 regionals upcoming in a few weeks. So if I do bad at the first one, this will be my backup deck. This is KS87 out for now.